Sometimes the greatest betrayals don't come from enemies. They come from the people we trust inside our own homes. In Downton Abbey, one of the most shocking moments arrives when Lady Cora discovers that the trusted Nanny West has been cruel to her granddaughter. What follows is a powerful scene of love, justice, and a mother's instinct. The Crawley family household is full of tradition, rules, and carefully chosen staff. Every role is important, from the butler who manages the Great Hall, to the maids who polish the silver, to the nanny who raises the next generation. When Lady Mary's son George and Lady Sybil's daughter Sybbie are born, the family places their care into the hands of Nanny West. At first, she appears to be the perfect figure of order and discipline. She speaks with authority, carries herself with confidence, and seems to know how to manage children of such high status. For Cora Crawley, this feels like a relief. With the house already filled with responsibility and social demands, she needs someone she can trust with her grandchildren. Nanny West seems to step into that space without hesitation, commanding respect in the nursery and assuring everyone that the children are in safe hands. To the family, she represents stability, the kind of dependable figure every aristocratic household relied upon. But beneath this polished surface, there are cracks that only time can reveal. Nanny West carries her own ideas about who matters in the Crawley family and who does not. She sees George as the heir, the future master of Downton, the boy who deserves every ounce of her attention and care. Sybbie, on the other hand, is treated differently. She is the daughter of Tom Branson, the former chauffeur who married Lady Sybil. To Nanny West, Sybbie is a reminder of class lines crossed. A child of mixed status in a world that thrives on hierarchy, this silent bias begins to show itself. In small but dangerous ways, when George cries, Nanny West rushes to his side with comfort and gentle words. When Sybbie needs attention, she is often told to be quiet or left to manage on her own. At first, these moments can be mistaken for strict discipline or firm guidance, the kind of toughness that nannies are known for. But slowly, the difference in treatment becomes clear, and with it grows a troubling sense that not every child is being cared for with the same love. What makes this situation so alarming is that the nursery is a private world, one that the parents rarely see in full. Upstairs in the grand drawing rooms, the Crawleys assume all is well, but behind the nursery door, a cruel injustice begins to unfold. The children are too young to understand why they are treated unequally, but they feel it, and this imbalance of affection and respect leaves marks deeper than anyone realizes. For Lady Cora, who believes in compassion and fairness, this is a danger that cannot be allowed. She has always valued the dignity of every person, regardless of title or background, but before she discovers the truth, she must first see through the polished mask of Nanny West, a mask that hides a heart filled with prejudice. The trouble begins in the quiet moments, when no one else is around to watch. George, the heir, is cradled with soft words and gentle care, while Sybbie is treated as if she does not belong. Nanny West speaks kindly to one child, yet sharpens her voice like a blade for the other. It is not open cruelty at first. It is the slow, poisonous difference in tone, in attention, in affection. When George stumbles in the nursery, she rushes to lift him up, smiling and praising him as if the smallest act deserves celebration. When Sybbie falters, the response is different. A warning glare, a scolding word, a message that she must be silent, that she must not draw too much attention to herself. Sybbie is too young to understand why, but the sting is there. She feels it in her small heart, even if she cannot speak it aloud. Nanny West holds a belief that she never dares to say in the drawing room, but it drips from every action in the nursery. To her, George is the child of noble blood, the one who matters. Sybbie, the daughter of a chauffeur, is treated as less.
Ow.
This prejudice is not shouted. It is whispered in the way food is served, in the way affection is withheld, in the way comfort is denied. The servants downstairs might suspect something, but the nursery is her domain. She holds power there. Parents rarely see beyond the closed doors, and when they do, Nanny West shows them only the polished surface, the perfect nanny, strict but caring, firm but fair. What they do not see is the coldness that creeps into Sybbie's daily life. For a time, it seems that this cruelty will remain hidden, shielded by the walls of the nursery. Yet children have a way of revealing truths that adults overlook. Sybbie grows quieter, more withdrawn, while George flourishes. Under constant praise, the contrast is too sharp to ignore forever. And though Cora Crawley does not yet know the full truth, fate is about to lead her directly to the moment that will shatter the nanny's mask. The truth comes to light in the most unexpected way. Cora Crawley is walking through the quiet halls of Downton when she hears voices from the nursery. At first, it seems like the ordinary chatter of a nanny tending to children. But then her steps slow, her ears catch a harsh tone that feels out of place. She pauses outside the nursery door, listening closely. Inside, Nanny West is speaking with a voice stripped of kindness. Her words are cruel, sharp, meant for little Sybbie. She calls her names, belittles her background, and spits out that she is just a chauffeur's daughter. The venom in her tone shocks Cora to her core. In that moment, the polished mask of Nanny West shatters. Cora realizes the truth. This woman has been poisoning the hearts of her grandchildren with division. George is lifted up like a prince, while Sybbie is pushed down like she does not belong. The idea of a child being treated as unworthy simply because of her father's past fills Cora with rage and sorrow. She does not burst into the room at once. For a moment, she lets the scene unfold before her, and her heart grows heavier with each cruel word. She sees Sybbie's small face, quiet and confused, too young to understand why love is being denied. That sight pierces Cora more deeply than any insult could. A mother's instinct takes over. She pushes the door open, not with anger, but with a calm strength that is far more terrifying than a raised voice. The room falls silent as Nanny West realizes she has been caught. George looks up with wide eyes. Sybbie clings to the corner, and Cora stands at the doorway. A figure of both grace and authority. What happens next will change the balance of the household forever. The Crawley family may be bound by tradition, but in this moment, love and justice outweigh every social rule. Cora has heard enough, and she is ready to act. Cora does not raise her voice. Yet her presence fills the nursery like a storm rolling in. She steps forward with calm steps, her eyes fixed on Nanny West, and in that silence the entire weight of her authority settles over the room. George clings to his toy, Sybbie stays pressed against the wall, and Nanny West struggles to compose herself. Cora speaks first, her tone sharp and steady. She repeats the cruel words she has just heard, making them echo in the air so that there is no escape from them. Each word is a mirror, forcing Nanny West to face what she has done. The nanny stumbles for an excuse, but Cora cuts her short. She tells her in no uncertain terms that no child under her roof will ever be shamed for who their father is, and no grandchild of hers will be treated as less than another. The power in Cora's voice is not anger, but certainty. She does not argue, she does not give warnings, she declares. The role of caretaker is a sacred one, and the woman standing before her has betrayed it. There is no path to forgiveness here, no second chance. The punishment is swift. Cora dismisses Nanny West. On the spot, her words are final, leaving no space for questions. The children will not spend another hour under her care. The woman who once carried herself with pride now shrinks in the face of truth, her authority stripped away in an instant. She gathers her things in silence, her eyes lowered, and leaves the nursery defeated. The moment is more than a firing. It is a message, not only to Nanny West, but to everyone who serves in Downton Abbey. Status and class may weigh heavily in their world. Yet within the Crawley family, there is a deeper law, love, and protection above all. Cora has drawn a line, one that no servant or stranger may cross. As the door closes behind Nanny West, the air shifts. Children are safe again. Sybbie looks up with new hope. George sits in quiet stillness, and Cora walks to them both. Kneels, not as a countess, but as a grandmother, gathering them close in her arms. In that embrace, the cruelty of the past moments is erased, replaced by warmth and protection asterisk. The nursery feels different once Nanny West is gone. The tension that once clung to the walls is lifted, leaving behind a fragile quiet. George and Sybbie, still young and innocent, cannot fully grasp what has just happened, but they sense the change. Sybbie no longer hears the sharp voice that cut her down. George no longer sees the constant favoritism that made him shine brighter while his cousin was left in the shadows. Cora sits with them both, her arms wrapping around their small shoulders. She speaks softly, reminding them that they are loved equally, that each of them is precious. Her words are not only comfort for the children, but also a declaration to herself. Will not allow prejudice to touch her family again. Her heart aches at the thought that even for a short time, Sybbie was made to feel less than she truly is. Downstairs, whispers begin to spread. The news of Nanny West's dismissal travels quickly among the staff. Some are shocked at how swiftly Cora acted, while others admire the firmness of her decision. They know that the Countess is not a woman to make a scene without reason. She has acted so decisively it means the offense was grave. The servants who overhear the gossip cannot help but respect her even more. For in a house divided by class, she chose to protect the child who carried the blood of both worlds. For Tom Branson, Sybbie's father, this moment carries even greater weight. He once believed that marrying into the Crawley family meant his daughter would always be looked down upon. Yet now he sees proof that Cora does not measure worth by titles or background. She has defended his child with the same strength she would show for Mary's son. It is a moment of healing for him, a sign that his place in the family is truly secure. In the grand halls of Downton, where appearances often rule above all, this act becomes a quiet lesson. It is not tradition or social order that defines a family's honor, but the way its members protect one another. Cora's choice to fire Nanny West is remembered not as a scandal, but as a stand for love and justice. Children will grow, perhaps never fully remembering this day, but they will carry its mark in the way they are raised, equally valued, equally cherished. Cora herself knows that this was not just about removing a cruel servant. It was about setting the foundation for the next generation. In her decision, she has shown that compassion must always overcome prejudice. And that strength comes not from power alone, but from love fiercely defended. The moment of Nanny West's dismissal is more than a scene of discipline inside a wealthy home. It is a reflection of something much deeper. The clash between tradition and compassion, between prejudice and fairness. Downton Abbey has always been a world where class lines are carefully guarded, where status determines worth. But in this moment, those rules are broken by something far stronger. A grandmother's love. Cora Crawley does not only fire a nanny, she sends a message that the values of the past cannot decide the future of her family. She shows that the next generation will not grow under the shadow of division. Children of Downton, whether born to aristocrats or to those who once served, deserve the same dignity, the same protection, the same love. This is not simply justice for Sybbie. It is a stand against the poisonous idea that bloodline should decide a child's place in the world. This scene also captures the strength of Cora herself. It's often seen as gentle, graceful, and soft-spoken. Here she reveals her hidden steel. She does not hesitate to remove a trusted servant when trust is broken. She does not allow fear of gossip or scandal to hold her back. Her actions remind us that true power lies not in title, but in the courage to defend those who cannot defend themselves. For the audience, the impact of this moment lingers. We are reminded that prejudice can hide behind polite manners and polished appearances, can live quietly in everyday choices, in who we favor and who we neglect. Yet the answer to it is always the same: to act with courage, to speak when silence would be easier, to protect the vulnerable even when it disrupts tradition. Cora's decision becomes one of Downton Abbey's defining lessons, tells us. That love must outweigh status. That loyalty to family must stand higher than loyalty to class. And that silence in the face of cruelty is its own kind of betrayal. By choosing to act, Cora not only shields her grandchildren, she also reshapes the moral foundation of the Crawley household. This is why the firing of Nanny West remains unforgettable. It is not simply about one cruel nanny losing her position. It is about a family choosing love over prejudice, and a woman stepping into her quiet strength to make sure the next generation grows up free of hate. Asterisk, the dismissal of Nanny West may seem like a private household matter, yet it stands as one of the most defining acts in the story of Downton Abbey. In that moment, Cora Crawley showed that silence in the face of cruelty is never an option. She defended not only her granddaughter, but the very idea of fairness within her home. By doing so, she made sure that Downton would not become a place where prejudice is allowed to grow unchecked. This scene reminds us that the greatest battles are not always fought on grand stages. Sometimes they are fought in nurseries, in quiet corners, in the small choices that shape the hearts of children. When Cora acted, she chose love over tradition, compassion over cruelty, and family over the rigid walls of class. Her decision lives on as a lesson that true strength is revealed not by title or wealth, but by courage and protection of the innocent. Even years later, viewers remember this moment, not for the scandal, but for its humanity, the sharp words, the sudden justice, and the embrace that followed all created a lasting truth. Love will always have the final word. Cora's actions carry a timeless message. No matter how deeply tradition may try to dictate our choices, the heart has the power to rise above it. And so we return to the question that gives this moment its weight. What would you have done if you were in Cora's place? Would you have acted with the same swift courage, or would you have hesitated for the sake of appearances? Share your thoughts below. Let us know whether you believe this was one of Downton Abbey's most powerful lessons, because in the end, it was not just about firing a nanny. It was about proving that love and justice will always protect the future, even in a house built on centuries of tradition.